You want to know what the top 1% really means, huh? It's not just about money, power, or prestige. No. It's about something way colder than that. It's about becoming the kind of monster this world can't ignore. It's about being the one who didn't fold, didn't flinch, didn't beg for understanding. It's the one who got crushed, spat out, forgotten, and came back with silence, not sympathy. You think being special means being seen? Wrong. Being top 1% means being willing to disappear until the right time comes to destroy everything they built without you in it. See this world? It doesn't reward the loyal. It doesn't clap for the kind-hearted. It doesn't bow for the broken. It uses you, tests you, bleeds you dry, and then it dares to act surprised when you snap. So if you're here, broken, lost, maybe thinking you're not enough, good. That's your proof. You're being cooked in the same fire the great ones crawled through. But you gotta decide. Will you be ashes or the goddamn flame? People say, don't change, stay who you are. Funny, right? They only say that when who you are benefits them. The second your silence becomes distance and your distance becomes evolution, they get scared. They start whispering, you've changed. Damn right I did. Growth looks like betrayal to those who only loved you broken. And this top 1%, it's not for the cute and comfortable. It's for the calculating, for the cold-blooded, for the ones who know exactly what they've been through and don't owe an ounce of their healing to anyone. You think people stay in your life because they love you? Nah. Most of them stay because you're useful. Because you entertain their boredom, fix their wounds, make them feel better about their lack of progress. But the day you go quiet, the day you stop explaining, stop apologizing, stop giving, that's the day they choke on your absence. That's the day you start crawling toward that 1%. And trust me, it's a lonely road. But loneliness, it builds killers. Kind ones, silent ones, but killers nonetheless. You want an example? All right, picture this. There's a guy, right? Quiet, loyal, shows up when it counts, gives more than he gets, never complains, but he's overlooked. They call him soft, predictable, replaceable. Until one day, he walks. No drama, no warning, just disappears. Fast forward 6 months, that man's unrecognizable. Physically, mentally, financially. He's not trying to prove anything to anybody anymore. He's just moving like a storm. No noise, no begging, no permission. Suddenly the same people who called him too much are now whispering, he's changed, he's cold. That, my friend, is the entry fee to the 1%. They never see it coming because you were never the loud one. You were the quiet one, the one they thought would stay forever. The top 1% doesn't rise out of applause. It rises out of rejection, pain, abandonment, and a whole lot of silence. You become so silent, it becomes a language, and eventually, they understand it without you needing to say a word. And here's something darker. you won't be clapped for. You'll be hated, resented, feared. Because you remind people of what they could have been if they had discipline instead of dreams. You see, everyone wants to be part of that top 1%, but they want it cheap. They want the glory, not the grind. They want the result, not the rot. Because getting here means you had to look in the mirror when nobody clapped, when nobody believed, when nobody checked in, and you still got up, still built, still pushed through betrayal, depression, self-doubt, fake friends, fake lovers, fake support. You did it all without a damn audience. And when you show up on the other side, built, dangerous, unshakable, they'll act like they knew it all along. Don't buy it. Don't give them the satisfaction. Smile and keep building. Revenge isn't in noise. It's in numbers, in results, in silence so loud it haunts them every night they scroll through your progress. You think this is about motivation? Nah. This is your wake-up call. You've been lied to. They told you love wins. No. Power wins. Discipline wins. Walking away from what drains you wins. Saying no, even when your heart says yes, wins. You know what doesn't win? Chasing people who've already decided your worth. Explaining yourself to those who ain't listening. Watering dead flowers and calling it hope. You want to be in the 1%? Then get cold. Get logical. Get strategic. Because life ain't emotional. It's mathematical. You either add value or they subtract you. Simple. They don't tell you this, but the top 1% bleeds differently. You bleed and you don't scream. You hurt and you don't post it. You lose people and you don't beg them to stay. You bury it, all of it, deep. And then you build over the grave. That's what makes you untouchable. That's what makes you dangerous. See? The rest of the world, they react, they lash out. They try to prove their worth to people who already decided they weren't enough. But you evolve in the shadows. No announcements, no tears, no performances, just silence, just work. Just that sharp, patient pain that you carry like a weapon, because that's the price. That's the ugly truth nobody puts on posters. To be in the top 1% means you had to sit with betrayal like it was your friend. It means you had to get stabbed in the back so many times the blades started sharpening your spine. And now, you walk upright, not because you're healed, but because the pain made you bulletproof. You think success comes from motivation? Nah, that's child's play. Success is born when you stop waiting to feel ready, when you move forward even with fear clawing at your throat. You don't wait for perfect. You don't wait for approval. You don't wait for someone to say go. You just move, broken, tired, alone. Because real strength ain't loud. It's silent suffering. It's choosing to move even while the world watches, hoping you trip. And when you don't, when you stay standing, that's when they panic. Because deep down they never expected you to last. That's what makes the 1% so rare. We weren't supposed to survive. We weren't supposed to get up. So when we do, we don't come back for applause. We come back for revenge in the form of progress. Let me give you another truth. The people who underestimated you, they did it because they couldn't see past their own weakness. They thought you were like them, fragile, dependent, replaceable. But they didn't know you were built in silence. They didn't know you got comfortable with being alone. They didn't know every no you got became a brick in your empire. You ever notice how they act when you go quiet? That's not confusion, that's fear. Because silence is clarity. Silence means you're thinking. And people who think, they build. People who stop talking and start moving, they become threats. And this world, it fears a man who no longer needs validation. A man who's been to hell and decided not to explain it. That's the most dangerous creature alive. And here's the coldest truth. You can't save people who benefit from your weakness. Some of them don't want you healed. They don't want you disciplined. They want you accessible, broken, familiar. The moment you start changing, they start calling you cold. They start saying you've lost your spark. What they really mean is you stopped being easy to manipulate. You stopped being available for their convenience. And when you realize that, when it finally clicks that some people only loved you because you made their lives easier, not because of who you are, that's when the mask falls off. That's when you stop loving blindly and start watching closely. Because not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your comeback. Some of them only came close to you because they knew you'd never say no. But now you say no like it's a full sentence. And that's power. That's real. That's rare. That's top 1%. You see, they'll talk behind your back. They'll doubt you. They'll try to stain your name. But let me tell you something they can't destroy. Results. Silence plus discipline equals violence. Not the kind with fists, but the kind with silence so loud it ruins their ego. Every time you level up, they feel it. They watch. They stalk your page. They ask mutuals. They whisper. Why? Because your presence still haunts them, even when you're gone. And that's legacy. That's proof you mattered. That you weren't just another name in their life. You were the one they never expected to outgrow them. But you did. Quietly. And now they're left with memories of someone they can't reach anymore. Keep walking. Keep building. Don't look back. The moment you decide that no apology is owed, that no explanation is necessary, that no one gets access unless they earn it, that's the moment you start becoming everything they feared you would be. The top 1% aren't chosen. They're forged. Through pain, through loss, through silence, through betrayal. And if you're still here, if you're still breathing, still moving after everything they did to break you, congratulations. You're already one of us. You just haven't realized it yet. You ever sit alone at night and wonder why the hell you're still carrying people who would have let you drown? Why you're still remembering those who forgot you the second someone new gave them attention? That's the curse of the real ones. The ones who meant what they said. The ones who didn't fake emotions just to get what they wanted. You see, the top 1% didn't get here because they had it easy. They got here because they stopped being soft in a world that preys on softness. You gave love like it was oxygen, and they treated it like it was optional. They used your loyalty like a doormat. And when you started pulling back, when you stopped being available for their mess, that's when they called you toxic, cold, emotionless. But what they really meant was you stopped letting them feed off your fire. You stopped begging, you stopped chasing, you let them walk, and instead of breaking, you rebuilt. That's how the elite are made. Not by applause, not by approval, but by exile. By learning how to heal in silence while they laughed in your absence. Let me break something to you. There's no one coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not your ex, not your boss, not even your goddamn potential. You either become the storm or you drown in someone else's. People love to say you've changed like it's a crime, but change is survival. Change is evolution. Change is saying, I'm done setting myself on fire just to keep others warm. They want you stuck. They want you soft. They want you needy. Because when you're in pain, you're predictable. But when you finally stop playing the victim, when you stop whining and start building in silence, they get scared. Not because you're loud, but because your silence is strategic now. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not here to be liked. You're here to dominate, to reclaim every ounce of self-worth they tried to erase from you. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about revenge. It's about control. The moment you stop being emotionally available to people who only show up when it's convenient, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you enter the top 1% of self-control. You know how hard it is to walk away from someone you love just because they don't love you, right? You know the hell it takes to go silent when your heart is screaming. That ain't weakness. That's war. And you fought it alone. No medals, no cameras, just you against the weight of every fake promise, every unanswered message, every time someone said forever and vanished like smoke. And you didn't break. You hardened. That's why they don't recognize you anymore, because you're not the same version they once took for granted. Want to know why silence works? Because it forces them to sit with the void they created. You stop texting, stop showing up, stop justifying your existence, and slowly they begin to choke on the echo of their own choices. That's power. You don't need closure when you become the reminder, when your success screams louder than your words ever could, When your glow-up makes their betrayal look like a blessing in disguise. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Let them act like they left you, like they found better. Because truth, they didn't leave you. They lost you. And nobody replaces what's rare. They just learn to live without it while it haunts them. At 3 a.m. That's the punishment. And the best part, you never had to lift a finger. You just walked away and became unreachable. People love to quote healing like it's this magical, soft journey. But healing? Healing is ugly. It's brutal. It's crying on floors you used to dance on. It's deleting photos you swore you'd show your kids. It's breaking every version of yourself just to finally feel whole again. And once you've gone through that, you don't let people touch you the same. You don't entertain half love. You don't let anyone back in unless they bring peace. That's the secret to the top 1%. We don't tolerate chaos disguised as love. We don't babysit emotional immaturity. We protect our peace like it's currency, because it is. The moment you prioritize your mental clarity over temporary comfort, that's when the game changes. That's when you start walking like a ghost through their memories. Silent, cold, unforgettable. So no, you're not too cold. You're not too distant. You're not heartless. You're finally protecting what they couldn't handle when it was warm. They mistook your patience for permission, your kindness for weakness, your silence for submission. And now, they're watching someone else rise where they expected you to fall. That's why they're bitter. Because they lost access to someone who would have given them the world. And now, you're building your own without them. You ever notice how they only start to value you when your back is turned? When your name turns into a rumor? When your silence becomes a mirror? When your absence finally feels heavier than your presence ever did? That's when it hits them. You weren't just someone they knew. You were the one they should have never played with. But by then, it's too late. Because the top 1% don't come back to fix things. We don't return to old wounds. We don't entertain maybe or what if. We burn the bridge, bury the ashes, and build an empire with the same hands they tried to break. That's the level of detachment you need. That's the kind of monster this world respects. Not the loud, reactive type, but the one who watches, waits, and then moves in silence like death itself. Let's make one thing crystal clear. People only see your worth when it's no longer theirs to benefit from. That's not love. That's regret. That's realization disguised as longing. You see, most people only cherish what they lose. They don't miss you. They miss what you did for them. They miss the comfort you brought, the way you showed up when no one else did. But that was never love. That was survival. Their survival, fed by your emotional generosity. And when you stopped giving, they started grieving. Not for you, but for the convenience of having someone like you around. So now, when they scroll through your progress, when they hear your name in places they never imagined, when they see you becoming everything they said you couldn't be, they don't applaud. They panic because they remember what they lost, and they know it's never coming back. You gotta stop thinking pain is a punishment. It's not. Pain is the tuition fee to greatness. Pain is what separates the 99% who fold from the 1% who forge. Every sleepless night, every fake friend, every betrayal, every scar, you needed it. Because without it, you'd still be soft. You'd still be chasing people who were never meant to be kept. You'd still be making excuses for why someone couldn't love you right. But now you've been forced into stillness, into solitude, into silence. And from that silence, you're starting to hear the truth. You don't need them. You never did. You were just too loyal to walk away from something that wasn't feeding your soul. But once you break free from that illusion, once you finally stop waiting for people to give you permission to grow, you become something they can't categorize, something they can't touch, something they can't destroy. You become rare, and rare don't chase. Rare don't explain. Rare just watches as the ones who underestimated you start drowning in their own mediocrity. That's the irony. They thought you were weak because you gave them 1,000 chances. But all you were doing was building patience. Now that you're quiet, they call it ego. But what it really is, boundaries, standards, self-respect. And trust me, the moment you raise your standards, you lose people you were never meant to keep. That's not loss. That's alignment. That's the universe making space. And the people who can't rise with you, let them fall without you. The higher you climb, the smaller your circle gets. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because the top, it's lonely for a reason. Not everyone is willing to kill their comfort to meet their calling. They don't understand how you became like this. Cold, strategic, focused. They think something's wrong with you, but nothing's wrong. You're just not available for drama anymore. You're not addicted to chaos anymore. You're not entertaining people who drain you. You've outgrown the noise. And once you do, the world starts to feel different. You walk into rooms, and you don't need to prove anything. You don't care if they like you. You don't shrink to fit in, because you finally know you're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. And people hate what they can't control. So let them talk. Let them misread your silence. Let them choke on their assumptions. Meanwhile, you just keep moving. Keep building. Keep becoming exactly what they said you couldn't, without saying a word. This is the part they'll never admit. They know exactly what they lost. They just don't know how to say it. So instead, they pretend. Pretend they're happier now. Pretend you didn't mean that much. Pretend they don't still check your page when no one's watching. But deep down, they know. They know they fumbled someone real. And that guilt, it doesn't fade. It festers. It eats them alive in the silence you left behind. And by the time they realize you were the rare one, you'll be too far gone, untouchable, unbothered, unreachable, top 1%. They'll swear they had reasons, swear it wasn't the right time, that they were confused, that they weren't ready. But deep down, they know it wasn't confusion. It was comfort. They were too comfortable thinking you'd stay, no matter how little they gave. They were addicted to the idea of you chasing, fixing, waiting. So when you stopped, when your name turned into silence and your energy went missing, it scared them. Because the truth is, most people don't believe in consequences. Not until the one they took for granted turns into someone they can't reach anymore. You became the ghost of everything they thought they controlled. And that's what haunts them. Not the break, not the ending, but the fact that you didn't come back. You didn't give them another shot. You didn't lower your value to make them comfortable. You vanished and started becoming everything they said you'd never be. Quiet, relentless, unforgiving. You know why you're still standing? Because you felt pain, and you didn't let it define you. You didn't need a savior. You didn't collapse into the arms of strangers just to feel alive. You learned to sit with it, to stare at the ceiling while it burned, to accept that nobody was coming. And from that agony, you built a different version of yourself, one that doesn't flinch when people leave, one that doesn't explain their silence, one that doesn't lose sleep over being misunderstood. That's what separates you now. You're not desperate to be seen. You're not begging to be chosen. You've understood something the rest still don't get. Peace isn't found in people. It's found in purpose. And when your purpose gets louder than your pain, that's when your power begins. That's when the ones who left start feeling it in ways they'll never admit out loud. You think they're sleeping peacefully? Number. They hear your silence louder than they ever heard your voice. They remember the things you did when nobody else would. The way you listened when no one else cared. The way you stayed when everyone else ran. And now you're gone. And they're stuck watching your name rise in places they never thought you'd reach. And don't think they're happy for you. They're haunted by you. Haunted by the fact that someone like you won't come twice. Because people like you don't orbit the same planets for long. We're just passing through to remind the world what loyalty looked like before it got drowned in selfishness. What real love looked like before it got confused with manipulation. What strength looked like when it was silent, not loud. That's what you were. And now you're gone. And they will never recover. Let me tell you what being the top 1% actually means. It means being the one who chooses discipline over desire. It means walking away from what you want because you know what you deserve. It means choosing peace over chaos, focus over noise, growth over comfort. That's not easy. That's a damn war, because your heart will scream, your mind will beg, your body will crave what's familiar, but the top 1% don't cave to emotion. We don't bow to nostalgia. We don't chase old flames that already burned us once. We walk forward, even when it hurts, because long-term pain is cheaper than temporary comfort. You gotta learn to choose suffering now over suffering later. That's the currency of the great, the ones who make it, the ones they can't forget. And the world? It'll always test you, not with storms, but with silence, with indifference, with abandonment. It wants to see if you'll keep going when there's no applause, when nobody believes, when every door gets slammed in your face, and the people you bled for act like you never existed. That's the test. That's the crucible. And if you're still here, still breathing, still building in silence, then you've already passed more trials than most will ever face. You don't need a certificate. You don't need their validation. Your existence, right now, this version of you, the one who didn't quit, is already proof that you belong in that 1%. But understand this, once you become this version of yourself, there's no going back. You'll be misunderstood, feared, labeled. You'll intimidate people who haven't faced their own demons. They'll call you cold, arrogant, heartless. But what you really are is free. And freedom scares people who are still trapped in approval, still begging for love, still faking strength in crowds because they can't handle solitude. You are not like them anymore. You've walked through a different kind of fire. And the only ones who will ever understand you are the ones who've bled in silence too. And now you're here. Not because life was kind, but because you refused to stay down when it tried to bury you. You didn't have someone holding your hand through the storm. You didn't have the crowd behind you clapping for your resilience. You had empty rooms, unanswered messages, late nights where your chest felt like it was collapsing from the weight of everything you didn't say. That's how this version of you was born. Not in comfort, not in love, but in war. And now you wear silence like armor. You trust slow. You watch everything. And when you speak, your words hit harder because they're backed by scars, not theories. That's the difference. The 99% talk about pain like poetry. The 1%, we live it, we become it, and then we turn it into power. You don't post it. You don't broadcast the rebuild. You just disappear. And when they finally look around, trying to find the version of you they used to exploit, you're long gone, replaced by someone colder, smarter, someone who sees through their games before they even play them. That's the evolution. You don't react anymore. You don't justify. You don't chase closure from people who can't even give honesty. You observe. You adapt. You grow in silence until your presence becomes uncomfortable for those who once felt superior. That's when you know you're rising. When your existence becomes a mirror, showing people everything they lack but once had access to. That's the karma. That's the silent revenge. They lost you at your softest. Now, they'll never survive your silence. But don't make the mistake of waiting for them to admit it. They won't. They'll pretend. Fake smiles, empty flexes, half-truths. They'll twist the story to make it look like you were the problem. Because accountability isn't a language the weak understand. Let them. Let them drown in the illusion they created. Because while they're busy trying to rewrite the past, you're writing your future. And your future doesn't include people who need to lose you to realize your worth. Your future doesn't carry dead weight. It's sharp, precise, clean. You move with purpose now. Every step calculated. Every breath deliberate. You've suffered too much to move recklessly. You've trusted the wrong ones too many times to not walk like a ghost around new ones. That's what makes you top 1%. Not money, not fame, not luck. Awareness, control, restraint. Let me say this to your face. You don't owe anyone your softness anymore. That version of you died the day they lied and still looked you in the eye like nothing was wrong. It died the day they ignored your pain. The day they watched you drown and turned their back. And what rose from that grave? That's who you are now. Quiet, watchful, strategic. Not because you're bitter, but because you finally get it. This world respects results, not reasons. Discipline, not desire. Power, not pity. And if they couldn't handle your warmth, they damn sure can't survive your cold. So stop shrinking, stop dimming, stop explaining. The ones who get it will never make you bleed to see your worth. And the ones who made you suffer, they weren't your people. They were your lesson. Learn it, own it, walk on. Now here's the coldest truth of all. You're not going back. Not to them. Not to who you were. Not to the life that tolerated your pain like it was background noise. That chapter is done. And the new one? It's written in silence, in discipline, in choosing peace over passion, growth over guilt. You don't explain your absence. You don't justify your success. You don't check if they're watching. You just become unforgettable. Because that's the only closure that matters. Becoming the version of yourself that makes them regret ever thinking you'd stay small. That's top 1%. That's your story now. And when they whisper about you, let them. When they wonder how you made it without them, let them. When they try to circle back, stay gone. Because the path you're on now, it doesn't accept applications from the past. This is for the silent warriors, the broken rebuilders, the ones who survived their own mind, the ones who didn't fold when the weight got heavy. This is your reward. Not love, not applause, but peace, clarity, power. And the Joker, he doesn't laugh for the crowd. He laughs because he knows what they'll never understand. You know what most people don't realize? That the moment you stop seeking acceptance, you become dangerous. Not in the way that makes headlines, but in the way that makes silence feel like thunder. The moment you stop asking, was I good enough for them? And start asking, were they even qualified to have me? You flip the script. That's the turning point. That's when you stop chasing love and start demanding respect. That's when they lose access to the old you. And trust me, they feel it. Oh, they feel it. Because people get high off your presence, your attention, your energy, until you cut the supply. Then suddenly you're changed, cold, too focused. But you know the truth. They were never clapping for you. They were clapping for how easy you made their lives. You leaving didn't hurt them because they missed you. It hurt them because they lost the version of you who had no boundaries. And now, you've become rare. Not because you glowed up on the outside, but because you grew up on the inside. You no longer explain yourself. You no longer soften the edge just to fit someone else's expectations. You don't break yourself down just to make others comfortable. That's the top 1% mindset. You're not trying to be liked. You're trying to be remembered. You don't care if they invite you anymore. You've built your own damn table. You eat alone now, with peace, with power, with purpose. And yeah, it gets lonely sometimes. But solitude isn't empty when it's filled with growth. Silence isn't painful when it's powered by progress. You learn to sit with your own shadow, and that's why they can't manipulate you anymore. You see it all now. The patterns, the lies, the fake apologies. You don't need to call them out, because you already outgrew them. Let them call you selfish. Let them say you switched up. That's how you know you're winning. Because the ones who benefited from your self-neglect will always label your boundaries as betrayal. Let them talk. Their opinion died the day they watched you suffer in silence and did nothing. Their access was revoked the moment they saw your heart breaking and chose indifference. Now it's your time, your era. And this time, it's not about proving anything. It's about becoming everything they said you couldn't be. Not for them, but for you. They told you that silence was weakness, but they were wrong. Silence is strategy. Silence is when the game changes. It's when you start moving with precision instead of pain. That's when the world starts to notice. Not when you speak, not when you beg, but when you cut the noise and let the results speak so loud, they drown every lie ever told about you. You know what the most painful lesson is? That love doesn't always come wrapped in truth. Sometimes it's manipulation dressed as care, control disguised as concern. And you had to learn that the hard way. You thought being good, being loyal, being real would be enough. But they didn't want real. They wanted easy. They wanted someone who wouldn't force them to grow. Someone who would keep pouring love into them while they remained empty. But you're not that person anymore. You don't pour into bottomless cups. You don't water weeds and call it love. That phase is dead. Now, you move in silence. You bless people from a distance. And if they don't meet your peace with peace, you remove them without a scene, without a sound, without a single tear left to cry. That's the new you, the healed, aware, calculated you. You still have a heart, but it's guarded. You still have love, but it's earned. You still have time, but it's expensive now. That's how it should be. That's the price of the climb. Because no one talks about what it costs to become this version of you. They see the confidence, the glow, the composure, but they don't see the breakdowns. The nights you wanted to quit, the mornings you woke up to nothing and still moved like something was coming. They don't see the betrayals, the tears, the questions. All they see is the finished product. But you remember. And that's why you'll never fold again. You didn't become this version of yourself by accident. You were forced here, pushed by pain, molded by betrayal, hardened by silence. And now that you've arrived, don't you dare apologize for who you had to become to survive. Don't you dare shrink just because your presence makes cowards uncomfortable. You didn't walk through hell just to sit quietly in rooms full of people who still don't get it. You came back to own everything they tried to bury you under. And if your silence speaks louder now, it's because you finally learned. Power doesn't shout, it whispers and still gets heard. You want to know what scares them the most? Not your strength, not your growth, not even your success. What really terrifies them is that you no longer care. That look in your eyes now, sharp, unreadable, unbothered, that's what shakes them. Because once upon a time you cared too much. You showed up, you explained, you tried. You bled for people who wouldn't even offer a damn bandage. And now, you've gone silent. No shade, no warning, no loud goodbye. Just gone. And they feel that every day. Because silence from someone real is louder than screams from someone fake. You didn't slam the door. You didn't curse them out. You just stopped giving what they never appreciated. And now, while they search for your shadow in other people, they realize there's no replacement for someone who gave them everything while asking for nothing. That's the difference. That's why you'll never be forgotten. See? The 99% play the game. They do just enough to be liked. They mold themselves into whatever the crowd wants. But the 1%, we become the crowd. We stop adjusting ourselves to be palatable. We stop dimming the light just because it burns the eyes of those who refuse to grow. You don't water down truth just to make weak minds comfortable. You speak with silence, you move with purpose. And when they ask where you went, you don't answer. Because when you operate in silence, their questions get louder. They ask, why are you different now? The real ones know the answer. The rest, let them drown in their own confusion. And here's what they'll never say out loud. They thought you needed them. They thought they were your anchor, but they were just the storm you survived. You healed in the fire. You trained in the dark. And now that you're walking like the very storm they tried to bury you in, they act surprised. They call you distant. But let's call it what it really is. They lost control. They can't guilt you anymore. Can't bait you into reactions. Can't use their presence as leverage because you finally realized the harshest truth of all. Peace is expensive, and most people are too cheap to protect it. So now, your peace comes first. No exceptions. No explanations. And anyone who threatens that peace, you cut them off like a dead limb, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. Because when you've spent years giving your best to people who gave you breadcrumbs in return, something changes inside you. You stop begging for love. You stop accepting almost and someday as enough. You stop playing therapist to broken people who refuse to heal. And when that shift happens, oh, it's beautiful. It's brutal, but it's beautiful. Because now you walk with a calm that makes the insecure anxious. You speak less, but your silence hits harder. You post less, but your moves echo louder. You give less access, but somehow you're more powerful than ever. That's the price of elevation. Solitude, silence, and a whole lot of misunderstanding. But you're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable, to be the example, the blueprint, the walking reminder that you can go through hell and still come out unrecognizable in the best way. That you can be discarded and still build a kingdom in the same place they left you bleeding. That you can be betrayed and still lead with discipline, not destruction. That's the real flex. Not revenge, not noise, control. Walking into rooms and saying nothing, yet shaking the atmosphere with your presence. That's the real power. That's top 1% behavior. So let them talk. Let them guess. Let them assume. You owe no one a version of yourself that fits their narrative. They don't know the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed with nothing left, the days you kept moving with a smile while breaking inside. They'll never understand. And that's the point. This wasn't their journey. It was yours. And you walked it. Alone, quiet, relentless. And now that you've arrived, don't lower your voice. Don't shrink your presence. Don't soften your tone. You earned this version of you in blood and silence. Walk like it.